Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk about an important topic from the ancient Indian scriptures called Puranas. Puranas describe an apocalypse-like situation on Earth due to sun assuming a red giant form in future. According to modern science, in about 5 billion years from now, the sun is going to assume an unhighlighting form and destroy all forms of life on Earth. In this presentation, I'm going to compare the views of the scriptures with the details given in the science with respect to apocalypse. Let's start with the life cycle of the sun. The life cycle of the sun has several phases, starting from the birth phase to the current phase known as the main sequence stage and progressing all the way to the red giant phase, where the sun loses its remaining energy and turns into a white dwarf and dies. As I mentioned before, we are in the main sequence stage of its life with respect to sun. Here, the sun converts the hydrogen ions into helium. But as sun ages, the hydrogen pod fuel gets depleted. And with this, the sun shrinks inward due to gravity, which causes it to expand. As sun expands, it transforms itself from a subgiant phase to a red giant phase, where it burns its remaining hydrogen and helium. Basically, as sun ages, it loses its energy. Studies have confirmed that in the next 5 billion years from now, the sun will transform itself into a new red giant star. What will happen? It will melt, evaporate, and gobble some of the inner rocky planets. What are those planets? Mercury, Venus, and most certainly Mars. A question arises, what will happen to Earth if the sun assumes a red giant form? Science has come up with different scenarios. According to scenario 1, some studies have speculated that the Earth could be melted and evaporated by the red giant sun. In other words, the Earth is going to meet the same fate as the inner rocky planets. However, other studies differ. According to scenario 2, due to the weakening gravitational pull of the sun over Earth, because the sun is constantly losing its mass as it ages. And because of this, the Earth could drift away from the sun so that it escapes vaporization. Interestingly, the ancient Indian Puranas describe scenario 2 in great detail. Here, the Earth is going to lose all its water bodies, all forms of life, and is burned from all sides. The two scenarios are depicted pictorially on this slide. On the left-hand side is the scenario 1, where the Earth is gobbled up by the sun, is burnt, evaporated, and smoked to non-existence. However, in scenario 2, as the Earth drifts away from the sun, it is still burnt from all sides and it appears like a burnt disk of charcoal. Do Puranas describe the red giant sun and the impending apocalypse on Earth? Yes, we have plenty of evidence to support this claim. According to Puranas, the Sanskrit name for the unhighlighting sun or the red giant sun is Samvartakaditya. Samvartakaditya itself has two words. Samvartaka, meaning something unhighlighting, something destructive, red giant, etc. And Aditya means sun. So Samvartakaditya means unhighlighting or red giant sun. Brahmanda Purana states, when the end of the Kalpa arrives, the sun of the seven rays takes the giant form of Samvartakaditya and burns down the three worlds. Then a continued drought lasting for 100 years takes place. Due to this, those living beings which are deficient in strength or having very little potentiality on the surface of the earth become dissolved and get mingled with the dust. So these verses typically describe an apocalypse-like situation on earth because of the unhighlighting sun. Let's switch to Srimad Bhagavatam. It's called the king of all Puranas. Bhagavatam states, the sun in its unhighlighting form will drink up with its terrible rays all the water in the ocean of living bodies and of the earth itself. But the devastating sun will not give any rain in return. So this particular verse from the Bhagavatam clearly indicates the break of water cycle which once held life on earth. What is water cycle? It's the evaporation of seawater followed by condensation followed by rainfall. If the sun is vaporizing all the seawater and is not giving back water in the form of rain, then it means there is a clear break of water cycle which could lead to the destruction of all forms of life on Earth. Let's consider verses from some other Puranas. Burnt from the sides, the earth will glow like a burning ball of cow dung. Very scary verse. Being burnt by the brilliant flames, the earth, including the mountains, rivers, and oceans, becomes bereft of moisture and viscidity. Getting the fiery splendor transmitted to it, the earth slowly assumes the form of a huge block of iron and shines. So these verses definitely support the apocalypse on earth because of the sun assuming the red giant form. Interestingly, Brahmanda Purana describes the total period of annihilation. The period given is 432 crores, 89 lakhs, and 80,000 human years. And this in the Western system of numbers is 4,328,000,000 and 980,000 years. How did the authors of the ancient Brahmanda Purana arrive at this huge number? Sure, this is a topic of another research. Scientific studies have indicated that after the red giant phase, the sun will shrink and turn into a white dwarf. Under these circumstances, it will no longer produce the heat energy. The sun is now dead. A particular verse from the Brahmanda Purana connects Lord Brahma with the period of total annihilation, which is around 4.32 billion years. Brahmanda Purana states, when 1,000 sets of 4 yugas end, Lord Brahma, who is in charge of creation, becomes desirous of sleep. As he does not wish for light, he creates the night. Very interesting verse. Brahmanda Purana also talks about recreation of life post-apocalypse phase. Brahmanda Purana states, when the night becomes dawn, all those living beings are born again from Brahma through an unmanifest source of origin. So this unmanifest source of origin is the higher power which guides Brahma to create life once again on earth. The rebirth after the annihilation of all the living beings is called samsara. Samsara, as you know, is an interesting terminology which is used in ancient Hindu and Buddhist scriptures. When Brahmanda Purana talks about recreation of life post-apocalypse phase, does it really mean the creation of another solar system? Given that the sun has turned into a white dwarf and died, to create life, we require another sun and definitely another solar system. Again, this is a topic of another research. So as per the Vedic scriptures, the process of creation and destruction cycles continues infinitely in the material world. In conclusion, ancient Indian scriptures refer to sun as a vitalizer, sustainer, and most importantly, as a destroyer. They refer to sun as the protector of the world and also as the destroyer of the world at the time of deluge. Interesting. Ancient Indian scholars definitely had a profound knowledge about the extinction of life on earth due to the sun exhibiting the Samvartakaditya form, which is definitely annihilating form or the red giant form. We refer to Bhagavad Purana, Brahmanda Purana, Skanda Purana, Padma Purana, Varaha Purana, Narasimha Purana, Rigveda Aitareya Brahmana, and Surya Siddhanta. Ladies and gentlemen, please refer to the full article published on the medium.com website. If you have liked the presentation, please hit the subscribe button. I shall bring more such presentations to you in future. Each of those presentations will be less than 10 minutes. Thank you. Gracias. Have a nice day.